Hey guys, we're back here again at Talk Football Live. The season has ended, the club season, but we're still here. Soccer is still going strong this summer. We have a lot of competitions. Euro 2024 kicks off on June 14th. We have Copa America coming up as well. We're going to be talking about that. But we're here to look at Euro 2024, and we're going to be looking through all the groups, talk about who the favorites are, how the brackets might, influence things, because sometimes, you have all the strong teams end up on one side, and then, there's usually a chance for a dark horse to come up on the other side. So we'll look at how the bracket might affect things and who we think will make it to the final. The final is always dicey, and we'll see how that goes. By the way, if you haven't yet, please go ahead now, like, subscribe, just show us your love, show us your support. We're here every week, every time there's something going on to, talk with you. So, yeah, hang with us. Biodun, how are you feeling?
I am doing very well. Refreshed, relaxed, and back. The season is over. The disappointment is over. So now it's the preseason, but it's still with a lot of fun, right? Euro
That's right.
2024, Copa America. After that, a lot of preseason coming up. As a matter of fact, I just thought
The
about it like
Olympics as well.
Olympics as well. That's very true. That's very true.
Mhm,
And I
mhm.
just thought about it like these players need to get some rest before the season kicks off late
Yeah,
August.
yeah,
So for me, I'm like, we'll probably not see all the Team A players play preseason. Like
right.
Arsenal is coming to the US. There's a game against Liverpool that I'm planning to be there. It sounds like we might not see our best, our first 11, because they're gonna need
Definitely
rest,
not.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I thought about that. But regardless, man, folks, let's enjoy Euro 2024 together. We're here to discuss the chances, the teams that have made it up to this point. Kudos to them. But we're about to look at their chances in the group stages. The game kicks off June 14th. Let's get into it, Ayo.
All right, let's go. So, Group A,
Wow.
Germany are the hosts for the tournament this summer,
Host, please.
and they're coming up. I think the first game kicks off on Friday, June the 14th, against Scotland. Correct?
That is very true. That is very true. I mean, do you see any surprises in this game, Ayo?
I don't think so. I mean, so in this group, I think Hungary are probably the weakest on paper in this group.
On paper.
And if we look just on paper, I would probably pick Germany and Switzerland to make it out of this group. That with notwithstanding, Scotland do have some very able players as well. Think about the likes of Tierney and Andy Robertson, John McGinn, and Che Adams. So they're not going to roll over, but Germany, I watched their preseason game against, who was it, Greece,
Yeah.
and they got caught on the counter several times. I mean, like, when I watched that game, I came away with the clear conclusion that Germany are not going to win this tournament. They, haven't done very well in recent times as well. In 2023, I think we saw them go on a run of like 3 wins out of 11 games. They fired their manager, they brought in someone new. And so, we're going into the tournament. Their last game wasn't that convincing as well. And so I think their squad is still strong enough. They have talent everywhere over the pitch. So I believe they'll be good enough to get out of the group stage. But will they win the tournament? I don't think so. I think they're stronger teams.
Oh wow. Okay. By the way, let me just tell you, Germany is my. I picked them as the favorites for this competition. I
Okay.
also see them as host as having another advantage. So I picked them as favorite, and I picked them from many months ago when they had that friendly against France, and I saw the way
Mm,
that they played France. They dominated. They basically shut down France, and that game featured in back way. So France didn't have an excuse. All their key players played.
mm,
They played very well. And I look at the squad. I think there are players that can make it happen for Germany if
mm-hmm.
Stock is also on their side. I mean, the midfield is well stocked. I don't know if they will go back to their traditional style of playing, or they're just gonna play with Havertz and somebody else up front. We don't know, but I think they have quality players that can deliver this competition on home soil. So I picked them. Now, my question to you: would you be disappointed if Germany didn't top this group?
Yes, without a doubt. Because like both of us have mentioned, they have the stars everywhere over the pitch. It's not just like some teams where they have like a few standout players. Like we talked about Scotland, right? And they have like just key players in every position. When you look at that Germany squad, every single player is pretty much a star or established in their own right, right? You look through everywhere. Jonathan Tah in the back, and Antonio Rudiger, Nico Schlotterberg, Robin Gosens, Kimmich on the right, Cruz in midfield, Gondwan, like Sane. Like I could go on and on. Musiala, like world class stars everywhere, Manuel Neuer, players who have been there regularly, who have done it, who are capable. And it's not just, older players everywhere as well. They have young players, like Musiala, Sane is still relatively young. So they have a very balanced studded squad. So they have no excuse not to top the group. The question is, can they go the distance?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to call it, because you mentioned the young players, skillful, experience, but I don't I don't I don't know if you're also giving the ones with the vast years of experience on that squad, that I think will actually calm their nerves if it gets to
Mm-hmm.
crucial points, because you need that in a competition. You need the senior
Yeah.
players. You need folks that have played all around. For example, Tony Cruz announced retirement, right, from
Mm-hmm.
Talk Football. I'm guessing
Mm-hmm.
this will be his last international competition as well. I would expect him to buy out, in style, just as he did with Real Madrid getting the Champions League, and he's going to go down
Mm-hmm.
in history as somebody winning it all and ending it well, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you have Tony Cruz in that midfield, you have Goody One in that midfield, you know Goody One very well. You have Adrich, who doesn't have that name recognition, but is a strong NG of Leverkusen. So you have
Mm-hmm.
those guys. Their options. Muller is there, but I don't
They
see
have
Muller.
Emre Chan, they have Mueller, they have Florian
Exactly.
Words.
So you have the fast players. Musiala is quick. Sane is quick. So I think they can make it to the final. I will be disappointed if they don't make it to at least semi-final, right? And they get knocked out by a very stronger team. That's okay, but not
Mm-hmm.
topping this group, not making it to the semi-final. I think it's going to be a total. It's going to be a failure for the German side. Let's quickly look at the rest before we
Okay.
move to the other group. And my question for this group is this: who do you think will give Germany the the toughest challenge in this group? Is it Switzerland or is it Scotland?
I personally think it'll be Switzerland. Um, they have a strong squad that is, again, a bit well balanced. Maybe not as balanced as Germany, but they have capable players everywhere. We think about Shaka in midfield, Remo Freuler, Shakiri, uh, Braylon Brolo up front, Zeki Amduni. Jan Sommer has been, a keeper for a long time. Ricardo Rodriguez at left back. So they have it. I mean, Manuel Akonji from Manchester City. They have
Akonji
a
and
balanced squad.
Fabian, like
Hmm.
Fabian, Akonji at World Cup wasn't as strong, but now he's has improved. So I think that
Yeah,
defense will
having
get us
gone to Man City, he's improved a lot again.
what we saw at the World Cup. So yeah, I agree with you. I just don't know. I think we might be surprised with what Scotland might bring out. Scotland adds very strong and physical guys, and I expect them to bring
Yeah.
that up. So we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
Let's move on to
B.
Group B, right? Spain,
Hmm.
Croatia, Italy, Albania. I have a quick question. Who is going to top this group? Who's going to second?
So I think Italy is my dark horse for this tournament, not because they're
And the champion.
surprising. Yes, for champion. I think Italy quietly have the team that has the experience and the capability to go the distance, and I think they might surprise people. I hope they don't surprise me, but I would probably pick Italy and Spain.
Hmm.
Yeah, Italy and Spain to get out of this group, which means Croatia misses out.
Ayo. So let's take a step back and just think about it very well. Croatia, the last World Cup 2022 semi finalist, right?
Yeah.
Italy didn't even make the World Cup. They are the
Hmm.
defending champion of this competition, right?
Hmm.
Spain, for years, have not succeeded in competitions, but they've have the best resources all over the world. So think about it again. Who is going to top this group? Who is going to take second?
I'm picking Italy to come first, and I'm picking Spain to come second.
Italy first, Spain second, higher dropping Croatia.
Yes.
Wow. If you ask me for my
Yes.
pick, I'm picking. It's tough. I agree with you. I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm picking Spain and Croatia.
Hmm. So you don't rate Italy to win to come out of the
Honestly,
group.
I think it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be really tough. But yeah, I, I don't know how to explain this, but I'll go with Spain. I know it's challenging. I know most people will probably not give Spain because they've been disappointing over the years. But I think this time around, they won't disappoint.
Nah,
Yeah,
I think Spain has been disappointing, but they have this kid, Yamal. Did you watch when he played against Brazil, Spain,
no, I missed.
Brazil?
I
Oh
missed.
God, I still find it hard to believe this kid is 16. Is he 17 yet?
No,
Has he
it's
turned
17,
17 now?
17, yeah, 17, 18 now. Yeah. So I mean,
Man,
just look at the squad. This squad is if if they can get it together, these are great players. You know, Rodri, you know, Nico Williams, which I would like us to get as a backup for Saka, if possible. You know, Zubimendi. That midfield is really, really stuck. You know what I
I
mean? So,
mean, yeah.
um, yeah.
So are we picking Spain to top the group then?
For me, I don't know about you. I think they can top the group, and I think Croatia would do well with their. Croatia kind of have the same thing the way you experience Italy. They have all these silent players that can win games, right? Same thing as
Mm,
Croatia. But I might be wrong. If it's not Croatia, then it will be Italy. But I pick Spain to top this group.
okay.
All right.
Italy's my dark horse. Moving
Yeah.
on.
Group C: Slovenia, Denmark, Serbia, England. I actually feel like, they're just like, hey, England, we need to help you. You need to get out of this group. Let's give it this guy. I'm sorry, my engagement. Yeah, but I don't know. What do you think? Give me your take on Group C.
England start off their games on the 16th against Serbia. Serbia is going to be a tough. I think it all depends on how England start. If England win that first game, I think England top the group. If And I mean, from what I've seen, yes, I know everyone was disappointed with their performance against Iceland. But the thing with the England squad that I've seen is that they're going to dominate games. And I don't think there's any particularly strong team in this group that is going to be that much of a challenge. So I fully expect them to top this group. Now, as with past competitions, I think like who is it? Charles always says, right? Man City is Pep. England is about Southgate. The England that we've seen at the past tournaments. It's a question of are we going to have a defensive Southgate where he's leading 1-0 in the 70th minute, he's dominated the game 55%, 60% possession all game, and then he takes off Harry Kane and Saka and brings on a defender and a defensive midfielder and tries to shut things down. So I think it depends on can Southgate go past himself or come out of himself and let this England squad use the talent that we know they have. I mean, you're talking. I mean, it's hard to even pick players to start. Foden, Saka, Palmer, Kane, Bellingham. I mean, you have players who
Talent.
will guaranteed produce assists and goals for you up front. Can you find a way to put that talent all together and let them work? Or are you going to stifle them and play back five?
Yeah, I mean, if I
Along with Declan Rice and maybe Menu.
yeah, I mean, maybe we just say you don't need the formation. You know, we said that by the way. So we don't need the formation. Let them play. They are senior players and professional. Just put the 11 on the field. You guys go figure it out.
So, yeah, England.
I
I'm
think that's
picking
what
England for the group, like you
most
said.
players, if a manager didn't actually give out the instructions, these current players that they have should be able to get on the pitch and get results.
Correct. Correct.
That's how
Um,
that's how I think they are good. That's how
how
that's how
good they
good I
are.
think they are
Yeah.
individually. But again, it's a
Yeah.
team game, right?
Yeah.
So
Who comes second?
I think England comes first. I agree with you. It's tough, man. Um, I think it's between Serbia and Denmark,
Yeah.
and because of the physicality of the Serbians, I might have to go with them. Serbia.
Yeah, I look at the other squads. I feel like the other three are relatively around the same level. I don't think there's any team that is quote unquote, the lower class. When you look at the star-studded squad of England and then you look at the others, like all the others all have stars. You look at, Slovenia, they have, Jan Oblak in goal, who we've seen with Atletico Madrid over the years, very reliable. They have Benjamin Sesko up front, who is everyone's talking about these days. Benjamin Verbic in midfield, and then you look at Serbia and you look at Denmark, and they have players as well.
Yeah.
So it's going to be close. It's going to be close.
Hon- Honestly,
I, I, mhm.
I'm looking at the squad
I
again for Denmark, and I feel like maybe I should go with Denmark.
I think I will go Serbia for second as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
possible, but I'm looking at that midfield for Denmark. If those guys are fit, you have Nogard. You know,
Mm-hmm.
these
You
are
have Norgard, you have Damsgaard, you have
you
Brun
have
Larsen,
Højbjerg.
you
Højbjerg
have
faded
Delaney.
out towards the
Sorry.
end of the season for Tottenham. I don't know if he's refreshed, but if he's refreshed and he's in that right, if he's in form,
Yeah.
Højbjerg, Nogard, Ericsson, they could probably start that three-man midfield.
My
What?
hesitation with Denmark is I think that midfield has quote unquote come of age.
Hmm,
If you look at the likes of Ericsson and Delaney and Højbjerg, all those guys are in their 30s. And I don't know if Norgard, Damsgaard, Brun Larsen, if those guys are good enough to edge out the others. Like when I look at the players that Serbia has, um, look at the likes of Filip Kostic from Juventus, they have Ivan Ilic, uh, Sergej Milinkovic Savic, who have been wanting to come to England for a long time,
yeah,
who ended up going to Saudi, Dusan Tadic.
yeah.
I think that midfield just about edges out Denmark. And then, up front, they have Vlahovic.
Do you think they're going to play two strikers or one striker? Sabia?
I haven't watched them play recently, so I don't know how they're tending to line up.
Yeah,
I would,
that's because
with the
would the
team
manager
they
be
have,
forced?
I would go
Yeah,
4-4-2.
that's what I'm thinking. Like, would the manager be forced to like, okay, why would I put Vlahovic on the bench, you know,
Yeah.
and start Mitrovic, or should I play both of them and tweak my formation to accommodate the two of them?
The risk though, I think actually what they've done, and this is not in recent times, but maybe last year, I think the way they lined up was to start with either of Mitrovic or Vlahovic, depending on who was fitter on form, and then bring the other in, or bring them in together if they wanted to attack more. That's the way they've lined up in the past. But I think the risk you face with Vlahovic and Mitrovic is that they're both center forwards. They are not the kind of players who would drop and get involved in the game. They're players who they want the ball in the box to finish things off.
Well, it once happened in the 90s when we used to have Dwight York and Andy Cole inside the box at the same time. Yeah.
Right. But one of them was a runner, right?
Yeah, but I don't know
Got
how they did
dropped.
it. You find the two of them inside the box sometimes, most times, but it
Yeah.
worked. But yeah.
We'll see.
So definitely England. You picked Serbia. I picked Denmark, right? We'll see.
Yep.
Let's go to Group D. Wow. Lovely football here. Netherlands, France, Poland, Austria. I think it's going to happen the way that group is set up. I mean, except for moving France up and dropping Netherlands to number two. I don't know, but it might just stay the way it is right now. What do you
Hmm.
think?
The thing is, Netherlands, right? They have the name. Um, But coming into this competition, I know they've had some injury concerns. Who was it that got injured recently that had to be dropped off? They called up Ian Martin as a replacement. Um,
You're talking about?
I'm losing my memory. So, and Martin was recently called up to join the squad because they had an injury.
The
Frankie De Jong got injured.
oh,
So,
I missed that. I missed that.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I'm seeing
so
right now that it's not on the team.
yeah, so Frankie De Jong is missing
Wow,
out, which weakens
that
their
is a big
midfield
problem.
significantly.
That is a big problem.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
I mean, looking at the squad, I think they're still good enough to get out of the group. And as you said, come second, they've brought Van Gaal back, of course. So, with that, manager, I think he will be good enough. They surprised us as well. Was it in the World Cup or was it the last Euros that I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
Where, yeah, I think it was the World Cup, right? After Cody Gakpo moved to Liverpool and they surprised us. So they have a young squad that is coming up, and they have, of course, their leader in Van Dijk, who is not quite what we used to be. Age is catching up, but he's still one of the best defenders in the world. I, I would agree with you. I would say France first, Netherlands second in this group.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I I think, of course, I mean the first two automatic qualification. Then I think we
Yeah.
need to have the best ones, like four out of the runners up, based on, I forget
Hmm.
what the result, because they need to be 16 into the
Yeah, I
round of
think
six.
it's usually they look at the points,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it comes down to the points.
Yeah.
But I don't expect Australia to win any game in this group.
Oh, really?
Um,
That's what you said about Luton Town. That's it. They surprised you.
No comments. They still ended up in the championship, so
Right. Well, you said they were not
well,
going to win
yeah.
a game. They won a game. They won more than a game.
Well, they
Uh,
did. They won a
what? So
couple.
let me ask you this question before we move to the next group. What would what is failure for France in this competition?
Failure for France is not reaching the final.
Okay, not reaching the final. They reached the final of the World Cup. They lost. So that's not
Yeah.
progression. So failure for them again is not reaching the final. It's not about losing the trophy.
Right.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's always hard, right? When you get to that level, very minute things decide the details, right? Even if we think back to that World Cup final, Argentina thought they were cruising at 3-0 with how many minutes to go? Was it 20 minutes before Mbappe decided to turn things on? And, you think back to that Colomwani chance against Martinez. Like Argentina was that close to losing it, right? So it comes down to very little things when you get to the final. So
Yeah.
first, make it to the final, and then let's see whether you have enough to win it. But if you don't make it to the final, you're definitely disappointed. That's my thought on
Okay.
France.
All right. Awesome. Group E. Ukraine, Slovakia, Belgium, Romania. Is this a boring group? Or is
Very
England's group
boring.
more boring?
This is probably the most boring group to me.
Not the
I
England's
mean,
group. Okay.
no, because England, right? Like when we talked about England, the other teams are roughly at the same level, right? We it was hard to pick who was going to come second in that group, right? When I look at this group, I'm like, who's even going? Like, who comes out of this group? Is it Belgium? Is Belgium finally going to show some quality? I mean, they seemed so happy to to get out of the World Cup. It was like, yep, we know we're not winning it. Let's
The
let's get
Bruna
back
is still
to
playing, bro. And you
let's get
have,
back to club football.
you have those players. I mean, it's the same group of players, just that everyone has written them off years ago when we
But
felt like, I mean, just a
their
glimpse
time
of it.
was 2014.
Yeah,
This
that
is
time that
10
we were
years
talking
ago.
about, it looked like England of today. It looked like England of 2 years ago and today, right? That's what it looked
Yep.
like. Like, they have this very young group of players, talented players all around the world. They never won anything. This is kind of what England has today, that England has had for
Hmm.
the last 2, 3 years, right? They still
Hmm.
don't win anything. So
Hmm.
now, sometimes, old as you get older, it kind of makes it better. Do you think that the old wine with Belgium will actually be the key to winning something?
I mean, I look at that defense, right? It's not that great.
Okay.
We saw Faz make so many mistakes. Well, I mean, they won now. So I haven't watched Leicester recently, so I don't know how Faz did in the championship. But the season they got relegated from the Premiership, he was woeful. Meunier is good, but I think he's 36 now. Timothy Castagne, he doesn't always start at Fulham. You think of Vertonghen, I still can't believe Vertonghen is still playing, but he's here, right? Whittle used to be a midfielder. He's listed now as a defender because, again, he's not that quick anymore. They don't have many centre backs available, right? And then you go into midfield. It's the same. Like I don't see any progression up front. They're still decent, right? Lukaku is still going to always be a threat, and I think they line up now with Trossard on the right, which again Trossard played all season on the left, but now you're
Jeremy Doku,
getting.
bro. Jeremy Doku. You're talking about the old ones. You're not talking about the younger ones. Jeremy
So that's
Doku.
why that's what I'm talking about the front, right? They
Yes.
have Doku, Trossard, and Lukaku. That's a formidable front three.
You see.
That three will produce threats. They will get out of this group. I expect them to top this group.
Well, would you start Trossard ahead of Bakayoko?
Yeah, yeah, I would.
You would?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Trossard is not going to play 90 minutes, so
That's
they're
true.
probably going to bring on Openda or Bakayoko at some point for him.
Okay. So,
But I
but
expect Doku to start. I expect Lukaku to start.
just to be sure,
Deketele will probably be their number 10 or another
Belgium will
midfielder
still top
beside De
this group.
Bruyne.
You think, right?
Hmm?
Belgium will top this group.
Yeah.
Who is going to second?
No, that's where it gets dicey. I mean, I look at the other teams and I don't see any clear standouts.
You're not going to pick anybody.
Ukraine, Slovakia,
Your, your, your,
Romania.
your boy Modric.
Romania is probably. Hmm?
Your boy Modric. Chance is not here today.
Ukraine is probably the one I might default to. Um, but again, they struggled through qualifying. I think they barely made it through into the competition in the first
Yeah.
place. But like you said, they do have players who have a decent standard. Yamolenko, Zinchenko, Modric. Up front, they have Yaremchuk, who is always a handful. Andrew Lunin, who pretty much played the whole season for Madrid or most of the season, is their goalkeeper. So they have decent quality. You think of Mikolenko from Everton at left back,
Yeah.
Zabani, centre back at Bournemouth. So they have players that would they just going off of that. I would say maybe they're the second team. Romania to me is the weakest in this group.
So
Um,
Dragusin is not going to do anything for the Romanians defense.
I don't
Tottenham guy.
expect him to. No, he barely played for Tottenham.
Okay. All right. So
I wasn't that
Ukraine.
impressed when I've seen him play.
Ukraine. Okay. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I want to be sure that there's going to be some surprise for us. I hope you have a mental memory of of our first and second year, so that when they surprise us, we can go back and say,
We'll always come back to the videos for the recording.
"All right, internet is not safe, man." All right, let's talk about the last group, man. And this is for the 39-year-old player who is still scoring. CR7. Come on, man. Tell me, is this group going to stay the way it is?
So how do we have it? We have Portugal up front, uh, Czech, Georgia, and Turkey. We expect Portugal to win the group. Portugal is strong. Without a doubt, they will win all the games in this group. I think it's kind of like the England group, right? They just give them some play some teams to complement them and go through. So I expect Portugal to win the group. Now,
Okay.
who battles with them? We have Turkey, we have Georgia, we have Czech Republic. On paper, Turkey, I would say, are the you know strongest on paper after Portugal in this group.
Okay.
So I will pick Turkey
Okay.
to finish second.
Okay. All right. So
Thoughts? Do you think
I
Czech Republic have a chance?
I don't I don't think so. Um, I don't see them going anywhere. I'm just trying to go through their squad again. Have some good players that people are still familiar with some of them, but I don't see
Hmm.
those players as players that
As
can actually
enough.
you know get you the 3 points that you need, especially in this kind of group. Obviously, Portugal's probably might be close to between 7 or 9 points, meaning they probably might draw, they probably might win all their games, and that gives them the
I
9 points,
expect full 9 points.
right?
Yeah,
Nine. So,
anything lower than 9 points to me will be a failure.
so who is going to beat Georgia the most, right? I don't know, man. I'm just, I'm sorry, Georgians. I'm sorry, Georgians. I love you all, but who's gonna be Georgia the most? Will probably come down to goal difference, right? Then maybe Czech and Turkey will probably play a draw. Or if Turkey can then beat Czech, then that gives Turkey the advantage to go second. But let's say Turkey and Czech ends up with a draw. They both lose to Portugal. So who beats Georgia the most? That's the point.
Mm,
And that's where I
yeah.
see it. So Czech might still go through to round of 16. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But sticking to the first and second, I'll go with you, Portugal, Turkey.
Yep. Yep.
Now, final question as we wrap. Out of all these things that we've looked at, I don't think anyone will forget Euro 2004 when Greece won unexpectedly, right? That is still one of the competition that shocked Europe, right? They played nothing, also going through their financial distress that time, but they won it. Do you see that happening with any of this team? And if you would take a guess, what team would you pick to repeat that Greece experience?
So I don't think we will have a shocker quite like Greece anymore. But I think the dark horses that maybe no one is talking about might be somewhere between Italy and Portugal. I think one of those two teams have a silently strong enough squad to overcome the likes of England or France or Spain if they happen to meet them along the way. That's
Hmm,
my thought.
hmm. Portugal winning it, you think it's going to be a surprise shock to anybody? Really?
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, but Portugal are probably one of the contenders. But Italy, like I mentioned, Italy was my dark horse when I look at Italy, and I think they've shocked us in recent times. Think of the Euros. Think of the 2006 World Cup, which they're a strong team, but no one ever actually expects them to win. But they find the resources to do so.
Okay.
Whether
All
it's
right.
Chiellini pulling Saka back and preventing them from scoring, or something else.
um, it's been fun going through this group stage. The competition
Yeah,
in less than 10 hours or thereabout. The entire city of Germany is probably rocked right now.
that's right.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be exciting. We're gonna come back here towards the end of the group stages to kind of start looking and discussing the round
The
of
knockout
16,
stages. That's
right?
right.
So we can kind of review our predictions today. But I wish all the teams best of luck. We're glad to see all the players that play in Europe that we're probably familiar with to see them come out and do it again. It's going to be
That's
fun. It's
right.
going to be exciting. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for
Awesome.
watching. Please continue to like, subscribe, and share our videos. Um, yeah, yeah. I still put my money on Germany. Ayo, you're putting your money on Germany, right?
At heart, I think I'm French, so I always go with the French.
Let's go with the French.
I always go with the French.
Next week, you're going to speak French on this show.
Oui, oui. C'est bon.
All right,
Au
everybody.
revoir. À
Don't forget
bientôt.
to like and subscribe and share. Thank you.